So, how panicked is the Kremlin and Vladimir Putin at the moment? Now, you heard at the start of this program, Putin in that national address talking about nuclear threats to the rest of the world. That's desperate. Now, some reports say he is significantly concerned after Ukraine recaptured large tracts of land in the northeastern parts of the country with a stunning three-week counter-offensive. Meanwhile, in that address to the Russian people, this is the first time, mind you, since the invasion of Ukraine, he's shown no indication he's prepared to back off. As I say, he has used the nuclear threat card again, has accused the West of attempting to break up Russia, and the Ukraine he's accused of refusing to negotiate a peace. But more than that, he's now enlisting the country's reservists to assist his army and has announced a series of referendums to show that Ukraine regions want to be part of Russia. Of course, he wouldn't be planning to rig those votes much, would he?
Those that allow such statements shall be reminded that our country also has various weapons of destruction, and with regard to certain components, they're even more modern than the NATO ones. And if there is a threat to the territorial integrity of our country and for protecting our people, we will certainly use all the means available to us. And I'm not bluffing.
He's not bluffing. Joining me live now from Kiev is Ukraine MP Inna Sovsun. Inna, thank you for your time. What did you make of Putin's address announcing referendums to support his invasion of Ukraine?
Well, that was something that there were talks about for a couple of days before, but the truth is also they were talking about it for 3 months now. They were saying they will hold referendum in Kherson region on the south, in Kharkiv on the east. That never happened, actually. And the reason for that not happening is because they simply do not have full control over there. And also because even they realize that they cannot make sure that the majority of the votes would be in favor, even though there were leaks of the information saying that according to the plan about referendum, the level of support should be 75%. That was already decided. But they do have problems with conducting the referendum themselves. Ukrainian army has actually destroyed a warehouse with the bulletins for the referendum on the south a couple of weeks ago. So I think that, it's literally him making up excuses, mainly for internal consumption. I don't think he tries to, to change minds of anyone else outside of Russia.
No, he must be concerned about how well Ukraine is doing now because he's now calling in reservists.
Indeed, but the thing is that before this, a couple of days when there were talks that he will address the nation, everybody was saying that he will have to organize a full mobilization. But he didn't. And I think that is an important thing to note. He only called for partial mobilization. And if you listen to the whole of his speech, he did make sure to claim that only those who have served before will be called to serve now, that nobody else would be invited to serve, that nobody will be forced to serve, and those who will actually serve will receive full coverage, the money from the state, and so on and so forth. That, to me, is a sign that he realizes that he doesn't have the full grasp of power as he claimed he did, that the majority of Russians are not actually willing to fight.
No.
That is why he had to be extremely cautious in calling for this partial mobilization.
Britain will match or exceed the $3.9 billion it committed to you this year in 2023. And our Defence Minister, Inna, has confirmed Australia will provide support following that plea for more Bushmasters. We're coming, Inna, we're coming. Is that the feeling inside Ukraine that the West is helping, or could we do a lot more?
Well, I'm grateful to Australia for the Bushmasters. You do know that they have been instrumental in the counter-offensive in Kharkiv region, so we would really appreciate more of those. But we're also waiting for the Western allies to provide us with some tanks. And there seems to be some sort of blockage of that decision for unknown reasons. So we are still calling for tanks to be provided and for the speed of the deliveries to be higher, because you realize that winter is coming here as well. And most likely the lines that we will have by February 1st will be the lines we will hold till springtime.
The Kremlin denies that its forces are responsible for large-scale killings and those horrific mass graves in Izium, accusing Kiev of fabricating those discoveries. This must make your blood boil.
It does indeed, because we know that they killed them. We know that there were people who were alive and well. Some of them are children, and who now have been killed by Russians, no matter what way, by artillery firing, by the Russians killing them directly. We do know, we are seeing evidence that majority of those people have actually been tortured before they were killed. They had their hands behind their backs tied. And of course, the most heartbreaking part is, I'm not sure if you have seen this, but there is a cross with the dates of life of a 6-year-old girl who was killed by Russians in Izum. That is just heartbreaking. And then we have revealing the stories of rape happening there on those territories as well. And that is just so much heartbreaking. They cannot get away from this.
Do you think that at the end of all of this, justice will be served?
At some point, yes. The question is when and how, and if those who are most responsible will actually pay the price in the court of justice. We are working on that, but of course, for that to happen, we need to have some changes in the international law. We need to make changes in the UN. That's something Ukraine is calling for. Russia cannot be a member of Security Council, of the organization created to create peace. That is something that needs to be done in order for justice to be done to those victims.
I appreciate your comments and your time, Inna Sovsun. Thank you very much.